Redix International would like to welcome you to our informational video series. This video provides a brief overview of HIPAA tracking services provided via the Redix Cloud. For many HIPAA users, particularly X12 users, implementing the various formats have been trial and error. This was, of course, unless the new user chose to use a vendor, whom, coincidentally, also learned by trial and error. This method of adaptation was necessary as HIPAA implementation guides failed to explain some of the rudimentary practices of X12. One of the most popular learning curves is tracking. Many provider-side entities began by generating 837 formats. HIPAA confused many users by suggesting poor practices for claim tracking. Initially, ill-advised practices may not have caused issues, but once other formats were adopted, TA1, 999, 277CA, 835, or secondary billing was implemented, or claim resubmissions were allowed, problems presented themselves. For those that chose the longer route and created new tracking ID systems for their 837 claims, supplemental transaction formats may have seemed odd, but they were able to cope. Others may not have been so lucky. Redix Cloud Services has the ability to connect the dots and work with those that may need assistance working around their issues. Before we begin, we should log into the secure Redix Cloud. From the public access page, redixwebservice.com, users may log into their private user area. For the purpose of this video, a demonstration account is used. The site uses a salt and hashtag system, so even Redix administrators do not have access to user passwords. In most cases, all data uploaded to the Redix Cloud is encrypted prior to upload, so although it seems as a perfectly functional system to the end user, Redix administrators do not have access to any confidential information. Only the client end user may view much of the material. Once logged in, the user is presented with a visual dashboard. The dashboard shows how much of their quota has been met, whether it be occurrences, uploads, or input files. In addition to quotas, the user may view any errors and login activities. The user may use the calendar control to select a date range. The site will remember your last selected choice so that some options, such as viewing the period of time since last sign-in, may be displayed by default. In order to understand the many screens and intricacies of the tracking area, let's look at a chart. Node 1. Transmitted 837 or B1 claim. Claim and patient visit tracking begins when the provider submits a HIPAA claim transaction set. Redix can aid first-time users by supplying details for their proper batch and claim level IDs. For those that may have legacy practices, such as non-unique claim ID, Redix offers a variety of fixes, such as using other or additional ID. Node 2. Receiving TA1 interchange acknowledgement. For those that participate in the optional X12 TA1 process, aka ISA acknowledgements, Redix may accept them and match the corresponding files and claim affected. Node 3. Received 999 acknowledgement. If a provider chooses to use the optional X12N999, aka GS/ST acknowledgements, then users may upload them to the system and Redix may match them to their corresponding file and claims affected. Node 4. Received 277CA acknowledgement. If you are fortunate to have a payer that sends back the optional X12N 277CA or claim loading acknowledgement, then Redix can accept them. The 277CA is often when a payer stamps the claim with a document control number, also known as a DCN, for the first time. Node 5. Received 835 remittance advice. For those 837 transmitters that have very limited receivers, sometimes the only format that may be received after an 837 is sent is an 835 remittance. It is very rare that the claims listed in an 835 are one-to-one with the original 837 transmission. In fact, as some claims take longer to process, an adjunction may take place over multiple 835 transmissions, and it may become a many-to-many relationship. This diagram shows the potential files that may be involved with the tracking. However, it does not give justice to the frequency of the transmissions. The diagram may seem to only allow for a single file of each type, but this may be true for few of them. In addition, Even in the case of the starting claim file, if a person is tracking a patient visit, then it may tie to multiple claim submissions whether they are due to secondary health plans, voids, or resubmissions. More about patient visits, or PV, is covered later in the video. Now that it is understood what Redux may track, there is a major question to be answered. How does one submit files? From the browser interface, a user may upload files via the dialog box or drag and drop to the browser. For this example, we will upload a set of 15 files using the dialog box approach. These files were built to represent the life cycle of primary, secondary, and tertiary claims. There are 3 sets each of 837, TA1, 999, 277CA, and 835. These files are then queued up in order of selection. This set of files was easy to keep in order, being that they have a common prefix and sequence number. Once queued, the user may augment the list using the red, orange, or green buttons, allowing the user to upload individual files, cancel a pending upload, or halt an upload already in progress. The green button at the bottom of the screen allows me to upload all at once in the order selected. I will hit that button now. Note the progress of each file and how there may be a delay due to size. After the list is completely uploaded, we may immediately go to the tracking area. We can see the whole list of files that were just uploaded and their current status. Redux retains a full history of a file's existence on its system. A special red-colored pending or processing text is used for those files uploaded and waiting to complete processing. From the default tracking page, users may track the individual files and their outcome. This is done through the list of files and a series of possible icons. The user may click on the list icon. The list shows the history of the upload from the analysis of transaction types and occurrences through its final process, whether that was validation, tracking, conversion, or even push to database. Users may also click on the report icon. Most formats will have a default report. In the case of an 837 file, there is a balance report to show the financial amounts. For other formats, there may be simple summary reports for their respective occurrences. At all times, there is a Download Cloud icon. This icon will allow the user to download all files relevant to the file's upload. A zip file will download that contains the original input file, occurrence summary file, and all output files that Redux has, whether they are the default reports, summaries, or conversions. The zip file is conveniently organized by in and out folders. There is a tracking screen for each of the 837 transaction types. On these screens, 2 levels of tracking are introduced. They are claim and then patient visit, also called PV. By default, all 837 claim tracking is done via the CLM01 claim submitter's ID, but the user has the option to add a few other fields if necessary. PV is a more complicated tracking process. By all accounts, HIPAA doesn't have a way to track patient visits through 837. The 837 claim submitter's ID is meant to be a unique ID per the transmission of the claim. This means that there is no meaningful ID for a patient visit. Redux has put together some fields such as date of service, medical record number, and patient demographics to guess what would account for an individual patient visit. Once PV is established, a patient may be tied to multiple 837 submissions in all of their supplemental formats. Redux calculates any new or matches any previously determined PV when processing 837. For other formats such as TA1, 999, 277CA, and 835, other ID exists that tie them back to their original 837 and hence back to their PV. Redux can then generate an entire history which may span dozens of transmissions. This report shows the patient visit history for a patient named Jill Rowe. I filtered out this name specifically because I knew said patient had primary, secondary, and tertiary claims. Please note that Redux is aware that it may not be possible to guarantee perfect calculation of PV. In theory, it is possible for someone with the same name to visit the same physician on the same day, even with the same procedures. Redux has designed workarounds that allow users to upload their PV to 837 claim reference information. At the time of this video, it is in beta. Please notify Redux if this is a necessity. Now that we have covered the cloud-based organization, tracking, and report mechanisms, let's look at more advanced data tunneling. One of the best features of Redux HIPAA tracking is its data gathering, and the best way to use it is at the client's local site. Cloud users may enable the HIPAA tracking synchronization in the cloud and set up a mirroring system back to their local database. Here you can see the area where we were able to configure this. Once enabled, users may download the configuration files, and with a few minutes of setup, which include initiating the database on the client server and configuring the connections, synchronization is ready to go. In order to view this, we will look at my command window. Scrolling up, I can see a batch file command that started the monitoring process. Scrolling down, I can see all the configuration and eventually see the rows actually being brought over. Now that the data has been brought over, I can look at my database, which I named Synced Files. We can take a look at any number of the tables. A simple exercise is to look at the ACTS table, which stores the 999 acknowledgements. On this table, you can see the patient visit GUID and other columns. The user may look at any of the involved formats, such as 837, 277CA, TA1. Here we can look at remits or 835. Users may use more advanced queries, such as this one. This query grabs entries from all the file formats and unions them via the patient visit key. Once done, it is sorted so that a user can see them in the proper order. Queries may be as simple as detecting which 837 have been received back in 999 responses, or much more complicated, such as the complete history of the patient visit. The type of report is up to the user. There is much value to this data when a third-party report generator is applied. This video has briefly shown the Redix HIPAA tracking cloud solutions. While these cloud solutions offer many manual tools, all operations may be automated. To view these offerings, please review the video, Redix Cloud Conversion Solutions. Should you require further assistance, please obtain our contact information from our website located at redix.com/contact. Thank you for your time.